Bristol. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about Bristol without dirt on it. Concrete Bristol. One groove concrete Bristol. These were the days.
Self-cleaning like a Roombot, you know. That's back when it was. That's what it was.
Little bump and runs all day to get people out of your way, you know.
The bump and run. Gordon for the lead. 2 laps to go. I'm not Alan Bestwick, but welcome to Flashbacks of the Track, presented as always by our wonderful friends at Blue Emu. That's right. For maximum strength, pain relief for your tired muscles and joints, try Blue Emu, the official partner of NASCAR and Major League Baseball, Mark. That's right. So official. It's too legit.
Baseball's back. You know?
Baseball's back. And you know what? It's back and it doesn't stink. Much like Blue Emu. Well, Blue Emu's always
We're
been
getting
back.
good at this.
It's working fast and it doesn't stink. That's right. We are really good at this. Rusty Wallace, I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you, Rusty. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. So Blue Emu, yeah, try it. Go pick it up somewhere if you've got any kind of pain in your muscles and joints. Mark, I know you're a runner, man. You always use that on your calves and for shin splints or any kind of like pain.
Oh, you got it, man. Yeah. I went running yesterday for the first time in a while, and yeah, I was feeling it. Little Blue Emu on my quads, and I'm back to 100%. So,
unfortunately, can't help me with running my mouth, so it's not something it's good with. But it's good with my. It was good with my wrist. I was feeling it the other day. I kind of like knocked it against my shifter, and it was a little Blue Emu on it. Actually worked really nice. So. You always find some new ways to use it every other week. So, yeah, it's kind of fun. Really great partner to have. Mark, man, it's time for part 2 of our non-stock rock block. I hope our listeners are ready for this. We're going to start off with a slow jam from Led Zeppelin. No, we're not. But part 2 of NBS 24/7 reviews, checking out some old episodes of NBS 24/7. Mark, after the first episode, how are you feeling about episode 2?
Oh, I'm ready for more of the Nostalgia Factory to come back. You know,
Nostalgia Factory. Do you have people working in there picking
yeah,
your
this
thoughts?
is the nostalgia. No, it's my own. The Nostalgia Factory is a place in my mind that prevents me from getting any work done ever when I'm sitting at a computer, because I need to like consume old NASCAR content at all time. Like, I'll just put this on while I'm working. And then I'm accidentally writing sentences about the 2001 fall Richmond race, because I'm more focused on that than work. And NBS 24/7 falls into that perfectly, to just being like, oh, old content, that I can watch. I remember these guys. It reminds me of my youth, and you're always going to love those things.
Yes, but remember, people, you can't go back there. No matter how bad you want to get Marty's time machine, you can't travel back towards then. But at least you can time travel with some good vibes from whatever you're going to watch. So I always feel that way about NASCAR Drivers 360. But we're not looking at NASCAR Drivers 360. We're looking at the NBS 24/7 gang, the lower budget kind of offshoot,
lower budget half-hour version,
lower budget half-hour show that was on the premium cable network that you had to pay more money to get. So.
NASCAR Drivers 360 was on FX though.
Yeah, but FX was supposed to be free apparently if you had a cable package. If you just had basic cable.
Not where I live.
Hey man, in America it was supposed to be free, and apparently it was, because I got channel 60 and that was where FX was, so I got that. I had like 99 channels, but speed was like channel 112, so I didn't get that. So
he was channel 54. I still remember.
Oh yeah, ESPN was 28. But yeah, so I always find that funny too, because like definitely NASCAR Drivers 360 was the most posh, professionally done reality series that ever's been done on a NASCAR driver, besides the A&E like biography thing that they did, because they just stepped it up to another level. But this one is I feel like it's a little bit better because it's more about the teams than it is about the driver. Where, NASCAR drivers just, it's all about that driver, their life 360. NBS 24/7, you get like the team owner, crew chief, the driver, the race weekend. You get a little bit of everything.
Yeah, it's a one-stop shop, literally, for learning all about, the behind-the-scenes part of NASCAR. It's all about starting when the checkered flag falls and ending before the green flag drops. I want to see all that stuff in between. And, I remember growing up as a videographer and learning things about video. It's show people what they can't see. they can watch the race. They don't need to see the race. Show them everything they don't get to see on TV. That's what's important.
Yes. And unfortunately, there's a lot of stuff that we won't be able to see on TV. And no offense, Mark, I kind of wish I didn't get to see it at all. I don't know how it got on TV. But, I think this also brings up a good point. Sometimes in life, you have an episode or some content that's come up, and you need that filler, like whenever you see an episode of a show and it's like a flashback episode and it's just a bunch of reoccurring things that have happened in the past. And it's like a compilation just to fill that space. That's what I feel like this episode we're going to watch or talk about specifically kind of was, because it was an off weekend, but really there wasn't a lot to showcase. You're muted. You're muted. You're muted. You're muted. Whoa.
Still muted. Now I'm
back.
God, I thought I was back that whole time.
That's okay. I was like, you're muted.
Oh, I thought you were just joking, but no. Great. So, yeah, what are you going to talk about on the off week? That's the thing. Now, luckily, the race got rained out, so it got pushed to Monday. So that ate up a day.
A little bit of time. So instead of Saturday, we're racing on Monday. And like you said, like we said in the previous episode, we always start at like the race weekend, the previous race weekend. So this one's Bristol. That's where we're at right now.
So we're at Bristol. Yeah, but really you have to fill the week with like, what are the drivers doing on their week off? And some are more interesting than others, as you'll see in this episode. So let's just jump right into this. So we'll do like we did in the first part, where we'll talk about the Fitz Bradshaw half first, and then we'll talk about the Braun racing half because it's way better second. We'll get this out of the way first. So essentially, Mondays are usually about, like we said, they're all about, unloading the cars at the track. But we got a race on Monday because the Saturday Bristol race got rained out. So the whole team is in Bristol, other than a few fabricators, which are in the shop watching the race on TV, enjoying some Chick-fil-A. They're having a good time there, clearly being asked by the camera crew to act excited. But
they're not excited, dude. They're watching their cars get destroyed at Bristol.
They're like, oh, look at that. Lap 1, Tim Fido's car is destroyed. We got to hang a new body now. Fantastic.
Yeah, and like they have to like shrug it off and be like, hey, man, he'll be good. It's just all cosmetic. And to you, that's not cosmetic. That is my life. That was like 40 hours of your week last week putting that car together. Gone.
And they get a little kick out of Shane Mills dust up with Dale Jarrett. But we'll talk about that in detail later on. But the guys in the shop enjoyed that. Yeah, Tim Fido's car finished 25th. We get to see David Stremme in the 14 Navy car. They were having a solid day. Started 12th, got up in the top 5. But issues with the radios. Radio issues. Couldn't hear the spotter. Yeah. And he ended up wrecking and finishing 38th because he didn't know there was somebody on his outside. Or somebody come down on him. I can't remember what the scenario was.
I feel like it was Greg Biffle maybe. Greg Biffle was on his inside. He chopped Biffle down. Biffle was kind of far enough along him where David should have gave him the room, but then, Biffle could have backed out. Either way, it comes down to there was no voice really, to your point, giving David those directions, exactly what was going on. Armando Fitz was not happy, but then again, you know what? I'm just going to put on my team owner hat right now, Mark. As a team owner, I shouldn't be in the pits right now complaining about the radios.
Unless you're a small team and you also serve as the crew chief or something.
Yeah.
Why are you on the pit box? Like, first off, unless you're like entertaining VIPs. Second, you could be listening to the radio. That's fine. If you want to listen, no problem. We get VIP people radios all the time. But why are you complaining to the pit crew guys about when people pitted and tire wear? And I don't care about finishing 12th. If he starts wearing tires, put new tires on. It's like,
why are you calling strategy,
bro?
Sit
in the suite and eat some shrimp and have a cocktail, and we'll run the race team. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I get that people want to be hands-on in ownership and they want to oversee a lot of aspects of the team, but yeah, you got to know your time and place, and that was not a time or place for him to, really be vocal. But hey, I'm not Armando Fitz. He can go live his life. So yeah, There was a bright spot, though, to the Fitz Bradshaw effort. The third car, the number 40, driven by Sterling Marlin, had a great run. He actually led a number of laps, was running up at the front with 70 laps to go. Unfortunately, he would not win, but would go on to finish fifth. A nice top five, a really good points day. The 40 car really needed it to stay up in the owner's points. So silver lining, but still, you know, at the end of the day, when you're the team owner, 2 of your 3 cars not having a good run and ending up with damage, it's not going to be a fun week at the shop, especially now that they're getting one less day to work on it. But hey, off week, so there's no pressure. But Tuesday, man, we're back at the shop, and you know, it's kind of nice to see the drivers giving a hand to the team, Mark. You know, you don't see that often, where the driver has to go to the shop and give a hand. But you know what? I guess if you punish the car, might as well be there to help a little bit.
Yeah, Davis Jeremy's right in there, and he's chopping up sheet metal and grinding things down, and the crew chief's in there doing it. And sometimes it's just good therapy, you know. Chop up your wrecked race car, and you just feel a little bit better about yourself, you know.
Yeah,
All it was missing was Ray Dunlap to give us a Craftsman tool tech, you know.
what it always reminds me that expression they say in the episode reminds me of like Ryan Newman after he gets wrecked and you see him with a hammer smashing like sheet metal or a crushed panel back into place. It's like, yep, Ryan's just venting right now. It's okay. He'll be fine. I'm not gonna lie, Mark. I really don't know how the heck they made an episode out of this content. I'm not like after this part of the episode. So first off, we'll go to one.
I don't even want to talk about it. Like, it's just
I'll talk about quickly Tim Fedowa's home life.
Okay, yeah.
Because like that was weird. I mean, because the way they hyped it up, it's like Tim Fedowa, like what's he doing? He's doing meth or something. Like, Tim Fedowa, what? He's just chilling with his dogs, and he's like just trying to like, you know, be there and like fill some time for the show to have content. And his wife comes home, and you kind of see the relationship with him and his wife, and it's odd. No offense, Tim, just weird.
They were recently married at the time, I think they said.
How much money did you save me?
Like yeah,
she comes home with weird stuff.
Like,
yeah,
you know, yeah, it is what it is. Tim Fedo was not a super interesting guy.
No offense to him, yeah. I just want him to live his life, you know. I don't. No offense. Yeah.
Some people are boring, you know. It's nobody's fault.
Hey, I'm a boring guy too, and I don't mind it. I just try not to have cameras following me. Now, I guess the most interesting part of what we're going to talk about next is probably when he gets punished or abused. I don't know how you would call that chamber, but yeah, Stremme. We do follow David Stremme for his exploits into his sponsor, which is a good
flashback.
Play. Yeah, it's a flashback. Literally, like we talked about. Oh, you have a flashback. This is flashback filler moment. I guess they didn't have like any way to use these clips.
They had no footage, so they did a flashback to January when the Navy crew went to the Navy Recruit Training Command Center or whatever in Great Lakes, Illinois, to like, you know, do what you do on those things, right? You like try the Navy SEAL training and everyone fails, and then you know, give a half-hearted talk about teamwork to a bunch of naval recruits who are going to go off to war, but you're trying to compare it to what NASCAR is like, and it just doesn't make sense. But anyway, what it really does is it gives us a great insight into how awkward a lot of those sponsor commitments can really be. And that's part of racing. You know, you're going to have those times when like you're going to be uncomfortable and you'll be like, hey, we need you to go to like this place and like talk to the staff. And you're like, okay, I guess we can go to like the, you know, Nabisco headquarters and I can talk to the cookie makers about NASCAR. Like, you know, it's just, but those things are important, right? They're part of the sport. They're marketing opportunities. They're B2C, B2E, they're employee incentives and whatnot. And yeah, it's just, and I feel like with the military, it's definitely gonna be taken to another level, right? Like, you know, I'm sure Nemechek had to go to the Army stuff all the time, and Mark Martin when he was sponsored by the Army, and all the different guys. And it's more than just like going for a ride in a jet, like you see them do sometimes. You know, he actually had to go and do all this stuff. But, you know, I guess maybe they learned something about teamwork. That's what's really important.
Hopefully, because The whole team was there. So if they didn't learn anything, I guess at least the recruits did. Yeah, ended up with Stremy going into this chamber. I guess it was like a gas
confidence chamber.
Confidence chamber is what they call it, but I guess they spray you with some kind of tear gas, and you have to sit there. Yep, not sit. You have to stand there and take it with everyone in line, and then you get out of it. So that's the end. We get to see David being serenaded by a piano player during his off weekend because he went on vacation to Florida. Because why not? You go to Florida for vacation, but I'll be honest, he went to the Panhandle. All right, it's not like he went to Disney World or he went to the Panhandle for vacation.
Literally gone anywhere.
Seriously. So no offense, but yeah, he goes to the Panhandle, has a little Florida vacation, has some fun.
God.
David Stremy on an off weekend. I would have rather watched that scene from, I don't remember exactly what the reality show was. I think it was the Speed reality show where JJ Yaley gets his bikini wax and you see him get like the hairs inside of his ass waxed. I would rather watch that scene again than go through the David Stremy stuff here. Like, no offense.
Yeah.
It just wasn't interesting. Was, I guess what they had in mind for the episode, which was good to your Mark's point. Like, it had a good relationship to the sponsor. It showed for the sponsor side that there's value in.
No, I tried. It's
TV show, but like
it's really bad. Like,
yeah.
And I think my favorite part of the whole episode is when they're on vacation. They go Stremy and a woman who's not his wife now. It was his girlfriend at the time. They go to a naval museum of like aircraft.
I think because like that's where the Blue Angels are based out of there.
Yeah, in Pensacola, right?
Yeah.
And he's sitting in this like helicopter and he's like, I should buy a helicopter. And he's like, maybe I should win some races first.
Moving on.
Knowing what we know now, I'm pretty sure David Stremy doesn't own a helicopter. But anyway, that is essentially that horrific side of the episode, which is so bad.
I don't know if like there's a way to find it, but I think that same show that I was talking about where JJ Yaley gets his bikini wax, they follow David Stremy, and after a cup weekend, like his favorite thing to do is always to come home and sit in his jacuzzi. So I wonder if he still does that.
Fair.
That's fair.
I wish I had a jacuzzi. I would do that all the time.
You can always get one on Amazon, man.
Yeah. True.
Yeah.
Prime.
You know what season it is, Mark?
No, James. What season is it?
It's maximum pain relief season. That's what season it is.
Is that not every season when you have Blue Emu?
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe we should stop trying to sell this to people and just start being straight. I guess pain always comes around when you least expect it, bro. So there is no season for it. So why not just try to use Blue Emu, man? It's like really good because first off, I don't know about you, I always like to use the Blue Emu Maximum pain relief. That stuff is, first off, works wonders. Second off, comes in a little tube, man. That tube, like I can throw it anywhere I want, like we'll backpack some, have maximum pain relief wherever I need it. Because that's where I feel like pain hits me. Like when I'm out away from the house and, you're not in your bathroom where you have your stuff in your little cubby, your medicine cabinet. So it's nice to have the Max on the go with you whenever you need it.
This is the thing. It's portable, fits right in there. Like you said, the tube is the way to go. Fits right in the pouch. Oh my God. I take it everywhere with me, man. My Blue Emu goes with me everywhere I go. When we're at the racetrack, it's good to have Blue Emu. Get the spray so you can offer it to other people. If they're not feeling, just spray a little on for them. Oh my God.
Yeah, because like I don't want to be weird and like rub Blue Emu on. I don't want you to have to like squeeze my stuff. Just like, hey bro, spray yourself down real quick. It's like, if you've got a spray sunscreen, it's kind of like you feel generous almost. You're like, oh, come on, you don't want some pain relief? Here you go. I'm offering it to you. It's free. Anyways, get some Blue Emu. It's not only the official partner of NASCAR, but it's the official partner of Major League Baseball. That's right. It's where world champions play baseball, Mark.
I Blue Emu.
Anyways, so we're going to talk about Braun racing and move on to the only positive side of the episode.
Good part of the episode.
There's a lot to Braun in this episode. So, like we said, we're starting off at Bristol, and in 2005 at Bristol, there was a dust-up between Shane Meal and Dale Jarrett. Shane Meal had a very adventurous day. He went from being 2 laps down after having a cut tire, making those up, being in contention to possibly get a top 10 finish towards the end of the event, he decided to basically bump and run, I don't know, about 4 or 5 guys consecutively to try to make his way around the speedway. He gets to Dale Jarrett. There's a bit of a stack up, and he happens to spin Jarrett, who's running in the 90 car, which was a Robert Yates car, and I think it was shared between Jarrett and Sadler at that time. So Jarrett's not happy. The race is red flagged to preserve the amount of green flag laps they have left, or, number of laps left in there, so they don't have to just do a green-white checkered. With the red out, Jarrett walks up to Meal's car and proceeds to have a quiet conversation with Meal. It wasn't quiet because we were able to hear it all through the mic, actually on the in car, which was kind of interesting. So you hear like Jarrett talking to him, and he's like, "Young man, that was not cool. What do you think you're doing?" And a lot of like things you can't really understand.
I love that he called him young man.
So polite, Dale.
And you're out there, young man.
Yeah, it just speaks a lot to the character of Dale Jarrett to even be that frustrated to have the courtesy that he did. And he basically just said to Shane, "You're going to regret that." And then Shane flipped him the bird, and the cutest way possible, because it was so slow.
Just like the deliberacy of it. It's like he let him know he was number one.
Yep.
And NASCAR used that clip in promotional stuff.
Yeah, that was the big thing though, because think about it, there wasn't really any big feuds at that point. Like the last thing we'd seen was Kevin Harvick and
that was when everyone loved each other, and it was super lame. There was no rivalries,
There was nothing. There was a bunch of or back and forth but yeah. But anyways, in the moment, Armando Fitz had a nice soundbite where he was just laughing and just over himself because he couldn't, because he was just so chuckled up at the fact that someone else is mad at Shane Meal. I guess Shane Meal was always a magnet during his career, and he ruffled a lot of feathers. I respect the man. He was a driver and a wheel man for sure. And man, did Shane wheel that car to a 12th place finish after that race, which was quite a testament to first come back from 2 laps down at that Bristol. Second, how beat up his car looked at the end of it. I mean, Mark, there was no left front fender or right front fender on that car. That thing was gone.
That's old Bristol, man. Cars like that would finish in the top 10,
Get some extra cooling air on that right front tire too.
Exactly. Blowers aren't working, don't matter. We don't have a fender. So aero not important.
No.
But naturally, Shane's altercation with Jarrett is going to be the talk of the town throughout the week, and
it's an off week. There's nothing else to talk about.
That's the thing. And Todd Braun's take is that NASCAR never should have let Jarrett walk across the track under the red flag to talk to Shane and threaten him, as he put it, under the red flag. So he kind of has a point, because they're not supposed to let him do that. So if that doesn't happen, then this altercation never takes place. They could have settled it afterwards. At the flagpole at 3:00, they could have just settled it there. But, then we get into a really interesting side of the story where we get to some insight on the life of the race team's PR person, or I guess she was media relations, however they refer to it, public relations, as we follow Allison Marshall, the Braun Racing PR person's efforts to get statements about this incident out to the media. And she wants everyone to know that it was very one-sided if you only follow the broadcast. It just looked like Shane was being a dick. And she's like, that's not how it happened. So Shane ends up getting a $10,000 fine and 25 driver points and 25 owner points for his gesture of flipping Dale Jarrett the bird. So
I think the points are okay. The money's good. The money's good because that hits Shane Meal. And that's what you need
I think
to do.
The points, I don't approve of the points. And the money, sure. The money's fine. The points, it's we're in 25 points. And then they use that footage in promos after that. It's
that's the hypocritical side that I don't get with NASCAR at times. Cause this was during that period where there wasn't a boys have at it. I know people love nowadays. Cause it's boys have at it. They're all ruffling their feathers. They go after each other. I grew up in a period where, Jeff Gordon got fined for pushing Matt Kenseth. Pushing. Noah Gragson punches a dude in the face and he gets nothing nowadays. It's so weird how things have shifted. And yeah, to that point, it's very hypocritical for them to use this footage of Shane over and over and over again, knowing that it always just was a magnet to drive viewership up and hype up the event. But still, Yeah, it's annoying. The only thing I will say though, for Shane's sake, dude, you gotta know when the walls have ears, man. You gotta know. You got an in-car camera. You can't let things get to you. You gotta know. And I think that was the biggest thing, man. When you're broadcasting on national television, you show the bird. I don't know. Is there any way we can look back, see if that race actually even blurred it? Like if delay blurred the bird, or did everybody see that middle finger?
I'm pretty sure it was broadcast live.
How can
I'm
you
pretty
see?
sure.
How can you tell? There's a window net. There's a black glove. I mean, come on. I call it conspiracy theory on that.
He never actually did it.
But anyways, Shane thought he could get out of like talking about it, and he did. He avoided it for a few days. But on Thursday, he had to travel with Busch Series driver Justin Labonte over to Dallas for a media blitz to promote the upcoming Texas race weekend. And during that point in time, reporters had their moment in front of Shane, and Shane had his moment to speak up and really give his side of the story. And he played it off pretty well. And actually, everyone wasn't upset with Shane Meal. Everybody was just comparing it to much like towards Dale Earnhardt flipping off Jeremy Mayfield after Pocono when Mayfield ruffled his feathers, you know? And, you know, that's a great point to bring up. Earnhardt would do stuff like that and you would never see repercussions. So I feel like that was a very interesting points to bring up. It was really good to see him interacting with a lot of these people who were really just valuing the time that they could have with Shane. Cause, you know, to the point of what this scenario was at the time, it was a really big topic. So like these people are like jumping on it. They're like, oh, we were going to have Shane Meal last week, you know? Oh, cool. Shane Meal this week. Oh, Shane Meal, the guy that's the most talked about person in NASCAR right now. Heck yes. So imagine how much this publicity trip actually went up in the stock of everybody participating in it after the events unfolded on Monday.
Yeah, you know what? Shane, he held his ground. He's just not, it's not getting to me, not letting it get to me. You know, people are always going to say what they're going to say and ready to put it behind me. My favorite part was in his Bristol interview when he was like, well, I don't hate it for Dale Jarrett. Like, yeah, I'm mad his car got torn up, but like, or it's a shame his car got torn up, but whatever. I'm like, hey, you know what? You gotta do what you gotta do, right? Like,
oh man, but it's that to his point being hypocritical. It's like I don't care about Dale Jarrett, but it's like you care about your guys. You should care about Dale Jarrett's guys too. You know.
You know what? Put it behind you. Got a truck race this weekend. I'm going truck racing, so put it behind you. You know?
Yeah, that's right. And in this weekend, much like in the previous episode, Shane's gonna run a truck race, and he's gonna do it with Billy Ballou, the number 15 truck. He's gonna run at Martinsville. That's right. We didn't say it's a NASCAR off weekend. It's just an off weekend for the Busch Series. So NASCAR's in Martinsville at this time. So you got truck and Cup weekend. So this is kind of cool that Shane still has this relationship with Billy Ballou. He ran with them throughout the 2004 season. Even got a win at Las Vegas, his only career NASCAR Cup Truck Series victory. So he gets to run a couple races in 2005 with Billy. But Mark, man, the best part is the fan reaction in driver intros.
I like it,
Just how like the group of dudes like get together and chant, Dale Jarrett's coming to kick your ass. Like that's good. It just shows how much pride NASCAR fans have in a moment. Like things stay with them. They remember shit.
Yeah, and it just reminded me of like when Shane said like on the radio to the guys when he's like, Jarrett says we're gonna pay for that. He's like, we better hurry up. Don't got much more than a season left.
He even said that on TV. It's like, dude,
kid.
he was savage. He did not hold back. But you know what? That was
and he
good.
was right too, which is funny. Like,
but you know, the sport needed that. There was nothing. There was no personality. It was so bland at that point. And even when you got like Carl Edwards, who was like drawing up on Matt Kenseth 06 at Martinsville, that was some energy. That was something. But yeah, so yeah, Shane Meal. Anyways, back to the truck race really quick. So Shane, man, had a solid day, and it started off well, but you know, he just, I don't know, man. I can't really tell if he had like an up and down yo-yo day just from this broadcast, but he had like a broken sway bar late in the race. And that's really what cost him a lot of positions. And he would bump and grind his way to 7th at the end of it. But it seemed like he had a strong truck at the beginning, not a winning truck, but at least a top 5 truck. And then the sway bar went away, and there went away a top 5 run. Though there was a little bit of extracurricular activities after the checkered flag.
Yeah, Ted Musgrave just like ran him down off the track. I'm not sure what happened. And then Shane, of course, what did I do? You know, like it's like Shane, you probably
gotta sell it,
bumped him, or
man.
you had to do something. You know, he's like,
That's
well,
like
he won't get in
soccer.
trouble for it either. You know, because he's not Shane Meal. So
Well, you got
I get
to
it.
sell it on your end, you know. Like when NASCAR comes over and hears you saying, "What did I do?" It's like, well, I don't know. Does Shane know what he did?
Yeah.
Oh well. But that was the most interesting part of this episode, was covering Braun Racing and mainly Shane Meals week after Bristol. Wow.
Yeah.
It's
And
really
you know
weird
what?
to see that Shane Meals' life was documented like this before he got like the boot.
Right
from
right
NASCAR.
before
Yeah.
he got banned from NASCAR.
It's crazy because like, man, it's like, man, I miss this driver so much.
And that actually leads to, if you watch the whole season, which unfortunately is not available online, some really interesting storylines the rest of the year as Braun works to find a fill-in driver and eventually gets Jason Leffler, who becomes their driver forever.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, it kind of works out for them in the end. But yeah, terrible, you know, what happened with Shane Meal, obviously.
Yeah,
but-
that was a bummer wrap, and it's a shame, but you know, we got to move on from that, and he's moved on too. He's living a good life, so good for Shane, and everything's kind of like worked its course. Unfortunately, though, the show didn't work its course, Mark, because it didn't last too much longer. It only lasted 2 seasons. But you know what sucks the most is we can't find any of the episodes. Like you said, it's not really available.
yeah, these are
online.
ones I'd like to get my hands on. I'd love to watch the whole thing again.
Just
especially
2005, just specifically 2005.
There are interesting races later in 05 because, like I said, what happens with Shane Meal, with Tim Fedewa being let go by Fitz Bradshaw, you get all these fill-in drivers and you get all these other things. And there's a lot of interesting stuff that goes on later on in the season. And with Stanton Barrett driving for them and Carlos Contreras driving for them, and some really interesting photos. Yeah, James, you posted a photo of Carlos Contreras on your Instagram the other day, and I thought that was dope. I was like, oh yeah, Carlos Contreras.
I always loved Carlos. He's such a cool guy.
Leading a pack of cars in that Fitz Bradshaw Dodge.
And that was back when it was looking good too, especially when Mike Bliss drove it for a few races when it was back then.
Those
Looking
Gen
good.
4 Chargers were just absolutely beautiful.
So, Mark, how would you rate this one compared to the last one?
Can I rate just the Braun half?
I'd give well, you know what? You can rate the part for Fitz where it was at the covering the Bristol race, because that was the most entertaining part for them.
Yeah, I give this episode less than the last one, probably. It's pretty boring. I could give it like a 5. Like, even with the Braun stuff, like the Fitz Bradshaw stuff is so lame. I'm like, I don't care about David Stremme going to visit Navy recruits. I'm sorry, maybe I'm heartless, but I just don't care. Like, I want to see behind the scenes racing stuff, not David Stremme awkwardly talking to a group of sailors about how NASCAR is like the Army. You know, it's just it's not for me. 5.
Yeah, to me, like, you know, we spoke a bit about it earlier, how you mentioned Joe Nemechek's role in the Navy. Like, you know, David Stremme being a young face, he's like that guy who's supposed to be recruiting. You know, like, you're supposed to be getting Joe Schmo from the street who's like 18 years old wanting to join Navy because you look young, happening, and cool. Joe Nemechek's supposed to be there for the guys who are already in the Army and are like looking for leadership and guidance. And you have this older veteran who's there to give you that. And yeah, I don't see why Stremme was supposed to be there to give guidance. Stremme should have been there to learn and to gain more appreciation about what's going on. And the recruit should have been teaching him. And I feel like it's more of a failure on the sponsor side than anything else. But yeah, I hate the fact the military advertised so much in NASCAR. It was such a weird time around this period too. All the Navy, National Guard, Coast Guard, Army, any branch of the military was in NASCAR. So I'd give it a 4.5 because I just want to go lower than you.
Brutal and harsh. You know what? You got to be brutal and harsh sometimes. This isn't all smiles and sunshine here on the Flashback to the Track podcast.
No, we're real. We'll rip you apart.
Yeah.
The Shane stuff was cool. You know, it's just I wish we could have had more of it. I wish we could have really seen what was going on with that media blitz, because it seemed like there was like a whole nother video being filmed there too. as Shane left. So kind of a bummer to not see more of it, but it was really cool to see that whole Shane stuff. And it's so just surreal and eerie to watch now because you know exactly what happens. And it's just really weird.
But
Like I
you know,
said,
you
it just
really
makes you-
see how good Shane was.
Yes.
And it's a shame what happened, you know, like
it makes you miss him more because, like, you know, as a guy who like grew up in that time period watching Xfinity and the Busch Series at the time, Shane Meal was a household name.
I loved that 32 Winfuel car. I loved that
yeah.
car when I was 14 years old watching it, you know, and
It was so cool.
yeah, and it was a shame what happened with all of that. And you know, Shane could have been a great driver. He could have been one of the greats, you know. And it's just unfortunate what happened. People make mistakes and you know make poor choices and things happen. But you know, looking back, it is cool to see this stuff. You know, to be reminded of how great these people were and how great these times were, and to see some cool teams. Like who doesn't love Braun Racing?
Seriously,
Like best team ever. Come on.
Oh yeah. And I think once they got
Team
Leffler,
of their time, James.
they definitely are a team of their time. I always loved them and Leffler. They were my favorite Xfinity team, and it made Leffler more of my favorite driver. And Leffler was like already someone I loved too, especially through 2004 when he was with Haas, and he finally had that success. Man, that was big. It was like 2003, 2004 with him. Killer years. That was good times. Good to reflect on that. But I think that's probably going to do it for this one. I know Mark just sent me a photo of the Braun car before it became the full Aikens Braun car 32, where Great Clips was on it. So
it's a fun piece of trivia. The 32 Great Clips car.
that's the thing, because Great Clips always wanted 38 for their branding, so they fought for that. And even Leffler had to have a lot of times where he wasn't in the 38, he'd be in the 32 or the 10. So that was cool about that team, though. It was really cool that they grew to be what they were, but to the point I think we mentioned in the first part, like they were supposed to be that team if things went right that would have graduated from the Busch Series to the Cup Series. Would they have lasted? I don't know, but you know, it's kind of a shame to see that their cup deal didn't really go that far. I think they only made one more start, like after
they did Atlanta and Bristol. That was it.
Yeah, and then they did Reed Sorensen like years later,
2010.
Yeah, so that was it for Braun, and that's the thing. It's like they were definitely one of the stronger Xfinity teams, Busch Series teams, nationwide team at the time. But yeah, oh well, great episode. I liked the reality show stuff. It's better than Keeping Up with the Kardashians, but it's no Robin Big. I'll tell you that. Robin Big, man, that's some good stuff. And before we head off, we're gonna have to thank our partners at Blue Emu. They provide us with maximum strength, pain relief for our tired muscles and joints, and they can provide it for you too with products that work fast and don't stink. That's right.
Big thing.
You will not smell like SpongeBob's breath from that episode when he eats that sundae. You know, you will not have the ugly when you use Blue Emu. No ugly. So, yeah, Mark, that was a good episode, man. I appreciated suggesting NBS 24/7 for a review.
Yeah, why not? You know, NBS 24/7, and yeah, we got some exciting stuff coming in the works for the months of April and May. So yeah, stay tuned to YouTube. Could have some cool stuff coming there soon as well. So yeah, keep on it, and yeah, NBS 24/7, man, that was fun. Well, actually, the second one wasn't very fun, but the first one was okay. But you know, have a good one, everybody. We'll see you in the next one.
Nothing but substance.